Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Pete here with MixBetterNow.com, and today I want to show you how to create a drum room mic in your mix session if you don't have one. Let's check it out. All right, I got a session pulled open here. This is my good buddy, Zach Jones and the Tricky Bits. Zach is an incredibly talented drummer. He drums with the likes of Sting, the band A Great Big World, and this is his first solo EP. It's fantastic. It's called Rendezvous with a Comet. You can go get it on iTunes right now. Zach Jones and the Tricky Bits. Highly recommended. So this was tracked at his buddy Oscar's studio. Oscar is the guitar player from A Great Big World. If any of you guys are A Great Big World fans out there, you'll know both of them very well. But nonetheless, these guys live in Brooklyn, so this was done, very kind of in a stripped down environment, and the drums sound absolutely amazing. The only thing is there's no drum room mic in here. I was a little bit surprised. So I'll show you that stuff in a second. Let's listen. This is just faders up. There's nothing going on. All I've done is I have an 1176 on the drum bus, just kind of knocking off a couple dB of compression. I have my mix bus chain up that I have in my normal template, and that is it. So let's take a quick listen.
Don't let me say it, Stella dear. The words are on my lips, but let me make it clear that though I'm eager to confess it, we will both live to regret it. So don't let me say it, Stella dear. Don't let me linger when we touch.
Okay, so as you can tell, it is literally faders up. There's nothing going on, no EQing, no compressing, no sweetening, just got a little bit of a balance going, panned a couple tracks, and away we went. So we're talking about drums, and let me show you what I got in the session. Now, being that Zach's an incredible drummer, Oscar is a great guitar player and a great producer, recording engineer, etc., they did a really good job at tracking these drums. So the tracks we have is we have a kick in, a kick out, right, pretty typical fare, snare top and bottom, rack tom, floor tom, mono overhead. That's it. No stereo overheads, no room mics, mono overhead. And I'll tell you what, the drums sound absolutely amazing. I'll solo them up, and they sound like this. We'll go from the start. So everything sounds really good, really big. I fixed a couple phase issues, nothing major. But I'll tell you what, this is a great example of it. There's no excuses to make music, right? These guys are living in Brooklyn, so they don't have a huge facility. This was done in Oscar's home studio. So they got out the drum kit, and as a result of the tracks you have here, you can tell they didn't have a lot of space, so there's no room mic in here. Now, I like to have a room mic because the idea of having a room mic on a drum kit is to create a sense of depth, to create a sense of space. It's very similar to putting a reverb on a vocal or something like that. If you've been obviously in a room where someone's playing drums, it's not like your ear is against the snare drum and you're just hearing all these dry drum sounds. It's kind of an unnatural thing. The overhead does take care of a little bit of the overall room vibe here, but there's nothing fancy about this. And my point is, it sounds great. So I love getting stuff like this because it's inspiring, and it's really like a no excuses. Like anybody can go out and get a really good drum sound in your home, in your project studio, whatever. So I thought, hey, it'd be fun to make a drum room track to give a little bit of depth, to create a little bit of ambiance here with the kit. So, some of you might wonder, how to do it or something like that. I thought this would be a fun way to show you. So basically all I did was I duplicated the overhead mic. So since it's a mono overhead, I just went ahead and duplicated it. This is what the overhead sounds like by itself. So we have a good image of the entire drum kit. I can hear the kick, I can hear the snare, I can hear the hats. right? So you're gonna hear everything there. So what I did was I duplicated the overhead. I created an audio track, just literally copy and pasted it, lined it up, and away I went. So what I like to do in this situation is I like to put a room reverb or a room like a room emulation type of plugin, like Ocean Way, like I'll show you in a second, on the track. I don't like to create a send and return effect and put it on the overheads or something like that. I just find it never really sounds as authentic or as realistic. But there's a couple caveats here, which is what I want to show you. So all the routing here is going to the drum bus. Everything is pretty much the same. So I'm going to send this faux room track, if you will, to the drum bus as well. The first thing I want to show you is the good old stock room reverb that comes with Studio One here. So it doesn't matter what DAW you're using. It doesn't matter what plugins you're using. I bet you your DAW has a room reverb of some type. If you're in Pro Tools, I know Dverb has a cool room sound on there. So anyway, in PreSonus Studio One, we have this really killer room reverb, kind of it's almost like a combination of a room verb but with an emulation, because we can adjust not just the reverb time, in the pre-delay, but we can also tweak the width of the room, the height of the room, the size of the room, all this good stuff. We can actually dampen it a bit. So we slap it on there. I'm going to solo this now. So I've gone ahead and dialed this sound in previously. I'm going to turn it on. And this is basically the sound that I came up with. I'll turn it up a little bit to exaggerate. So it definitely has that room kind of chamber feel where it's giving us a sense of size, a sense of depth, and a sense of space. Now, a couple key things here. The dry wet knob. I went 100% on the reverb here. Not all plugins have a reverb and a mix knob. Most of the time you will see a dry wet mix knob, and it's very important to back that off from 100%. You want to tweak it to where you're getting the proper amount of wetness that you want to get the amount of size and depth that you want. You want to essentially take the drums from here and you want to bring the drums here. And 23.5% seems to be doing it for me on this. Okay, if I bring it out, in. Now you'll hear if I increase this, it kind of gets a little washy and it starts to slap around, and it's just it's just not the sound you want. That's about maxed. When you get past 75%, it just kind of falls apart. So, 23.5 seemed to sound good on this for me. We'll leave it at 23 for now. And like I said, you can tweak the width, the height, the size, all that stuff. But for demonstration purposes, I just kind of slapped it on here and away I went. Now, here's the way that I like to kind of massage or blend in the room sound. So I'm going to leave this the fader all the way down on the room here. I'm going to solo up my kit. So the kick in, kick out, snare top, bottom, rack, floor, and overheads. So it sounds, listen, the drums sound great. I just want to add a little bit of depth to this whole thing. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to massage in the room fader until I can hear that depth that I want, and that I call it faux space because it's not a real sense of space, but we're creating that here with the plugin. So if I hit the space bar and stop it, you should be able to hear the reverb tail. And that's just a really nice way to create a quick room sound, really rough and dirty with your stock room reverb here in Studio One. I'm going to bring the band in real quick just so you can hear what it sounds like with the room track that we created.
The words are on my lips, but let me make it clear that though I'm
off. Very, very, very cool sounding. I really dig that. I think it, it just gives a really, really nice bit of sheen and space to the drum kit. Now, a couple other things I just want to show you real quick. That was with the stock plugin. There are a couple other plugins that I might reach for, but this isn't really about what plugins you have. It's you use whatever you have, you get up and go. And another one that I love is the BX Room MS from Brainworks and Plugin Alliance here. So I've just gone ahead and dialed in a really cool room sound. I'll let you hear that. What I've done is I've gone with a natural room shape, kind of a medium to small room size. Nothing crazy on the reverb time, about a half a second there. No pre-delay, anything like that. And here's the key on the dry wet knob, or the mix knob, whatever you want to call it. I have this at 75% here. I just thought it sounded better. It all depends on what reverb plugin you're using as to which percentage, you want to blend in. Okay, so here I thought that 75% sounded good. So we've got a nice room sound going. I could even probably pull this back a little bit. To me, it sounds like a really good, room mic in the context of the kit. Out. In. Very cool. Another one that I like a lot is the UAD Oceanway Studios. Of course, not all of you are going to have this, but those of you who do know, it's really incredible. It's actually a room emulation of the old Oceanway Studios, which is now United. But nonetheless, we can kind of simulate where the kit would be. So you can see in the top left-hand corner here, here's the drum kit. The red is the first set of mics. I have them set up at around 8 feet. The second set of mics is around 18 feet. And you could even bring in far mics at 25, 30 feet. It's really a taste thing. Let's go ahead and listen to what this sounds like. This one's probably the most realistic. Let's take a listen. So this really sounds like a room mic to me. It does a really good job at emulating it. It almost kind of sounds like a far hall mic too. Like sometimes if you put, if you're tracking drums and you're in the studio, you put the microphone down the hallway. Kind of has that vibe. But if we bring it in with the band, these are kind of 3 different plugins I think that show some slightly different room verb sounds, which I like. Let's listen. This one's probably my favorite. So, that sounds really, really good. But, as I said before, if all you have is the stock stuff, get it up and go. This is a fantastic plugin for free in Studio One. And this was just kind of a quick and easy way to add a drum room microphone to your drum kit if you don't have one in your session and you want one to kind of give your drums that little bit of space and realistic depth that a room mic will give you. All right, so that's it for me. My name is Pete with MixBetterNow.com. I want to wish all of you a very happy new year. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have an awesome day, and I will catch you very soon.